the original Torah was said to be written with fire, black fire on white fire. And in Revelation, we learn that the heavens roll up like a scroll. So what if the story of Revelation, the end, was written from the beginning in the stars? When we look up northward in the heavens, we can see the king seated with his bride. But if we go all the way down, the furthest down, we can see the symbol of death here, of Hades in the underworld. So we want to take some time to start with these 4 horsemen and see what story they tell us. We see here a horseman, one sitting upon a horse, and he has a bow and he has a crown. So let's look and see what these stars mean in Hebrew. So maybe around 2017, I came across this eye-opening account where he's pointing a lot of these constellations to be Messiah. So I looked up what more I could find. It's hard to find a lot of the star names in Hebrew. So some of mine might line up, but I was also noticing that, like, this one is this first horseman, how it seems to line up with the book of Revelation. It seems to be telling this story in animation. So here is a picture where he's got the bow and he's got the crown. So just some notes that I have. Sagittarius means the archer. So Hebrew Na'im means the gracious one. Hebrew Nehushta, the going or sending forth. Akkadian is Nunki, prince of the earth. In the very path in which the sun rejoiceth in his going forth as a strong man. Its ruling planet is Jupiter. So like the sun is like a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, rejoices like a strong man to run a race. Does this sound like the Antichrist? Ancient zodiac of Dendera, he is called P. Marie, graciousness, beauty of the appearing or coming forth. The characters under the hind foot read Nem, which means he conquers. So I'm not denying the Antichrist will imitate him. He could arrive at the same time. They could look exactly the same. But which one do you give the credit for the victory for? Because I think they're arriving defeated. And even I understand that the 10 tribes, this beast, defeats the dragon. So in this way, you're saying the Antichrist gets the victory, but it's only because the one who has all of the authority, they're just a weapon in his hand. Like, these are arrows. They're not the horsemen. They're the arrows. The arrows shouldn't say, I got the victory because I pierced the enemy. No, the one guiding the bow pierced the enemy. His arrow in his bow is aimed directly at the heart of the scorpion, and scorpion, I believe, to be tied in with the 4th horseman. There's 2 constellations for the 4th horseman. Full of grace, but conquering and to conquer. Gird thy sword upon thy thigh, O most mighty. Gird thyself with thy glory and thy majesty, and in thy majesty ride prosperously because of truth and meekness and righteousness. And thy right hand shall teach thee terrible things. Thine arrows are sharp in the heart of the king's enemies, whereby the people fall under thee. So those quotes are then from that source, the witness in the stars. The bow is called bios, which is the Greek word for to live. And there is a crown that is cast at his feet. So Corona right next to Sagittarius. So he has arrows, and the arrows are Ephraim. So what he's doing is he's gathering the 10 lost tribes of Israel, and he says they are like a precious stone of a crown sparkling on his land. So when you zoom in and count the stars, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 main stars there. And so the crown, the Hebrew name for the constellation is a Tara, a royal crown, so not a wreath. And its stars are known today in the East by the plural Ataroth. So there's going to be a corruption, like a Greek version, where they're trying to claim these are their gods or misrepresent the original meaning. But this does not change. Like, he is white, he is pure. So it's not being like he's being represented as the one that is a liar, is death. Okay, so it's representing someone who is a king, who is righteous. Its Arabic name is al-Iqlil, an ornament or a jewel for this crown. It says it has 21 stars. Its brightest star has the Arabic name of al-Feka, the shining. So looking like the description of the first horseman here, and you begin to see this battle that is taking place because he has his bow pointed at Scorpius here, and he's not alone. Joining him is Centaurus. So this Scorpius is surrounded, and we also see Lupus, which is dead, and we see these scales here. So let's take a look at the next one. The Centaurus, the Red Rider, the second seal, Hebrew word Beza, means the despised. 35 stars. The brightest star, which is in the horse's forefoot, has come down to us with the ancient name of Ptolemon, which means the heretofore and hereafter, marking him as the one which is and which was and which is to come. Sir John Herschel observed this star to be growing rapidly brighter. It may be therefore one of the changeable stars. Hebrew Asmith, which means a sin offering. So if we're pointing this to the two witnesses then with Yom Kippur, that they're also following in Messiah's footsteps. It says to the souls who are under the altar that others need to join them. So being under the altar can be pointing to some form of atonement. The Jewish understanding is that the death of the righteous brings atonement. You can see examples of this with Moshe, Aaron, and the sister. The Greek name was Heron, which means the pierced or who pierces. So maybe since his foot is the strongest, he's crushing with his foot aimed at this scorpion creature. Within the feet of Centaurus is a cross, the second red seal, so also pointing towards a sin offering. The Hebrew name was Adam, which means cutting off. I mean, Adam's tied in with humanity, but this could be like the second Adam. In Daniel 9, after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off. The last letter of the Hebrew alphabet was called Tau, which was anciently made in the form of a cross, a Tav. This letter is called Tav and means a mark, especially a boundary mark, a limit or finish. And it is the last letter which finishes the Hebrew alphabet to this day. With the first one, a crown is given him, but it's still at his feet. Maybe it's an image of what is set before him, where he's not yet revealed to all the earth, that this is the conquering king. And similar with his cross, because we know this is what is laid before Messiah. So same with the two witnesses, that they may even know that this is where their path leads, and they're accepting this. It's what's at their feet, and what they're defeating here is death. When Messiah died, he defeated death, but it also says the final enemy to be defeated is death. So I believe this happens on Yom Kippur, which helps like enable the rapture and making people maybe very hard to kill during the Great Tribulation, explaining why they would need to be beheaded. So this one here pointing at like all the forces of the enemy, where the devil and his dragons are defeated in Revelation chapter 12. So they're defeated from the very beginning. They're defeated. It's like a test of your faith. Do you put any fear in them? They are arriving defeated. You should be like amazed at how powerless they are. Because we read this passage in the previous video, people would say, is this the one that caused the nations to tremble? Like, really? When you see him compared to God, he is nothing. So here you can see the corresponding horsemen with these two halves of the week of the Virgin, the beginning of sorrows, and the tribulation, as I understand it. And they're completely got these two guys under their control. They're obviously defeated. Libra, the scales, 51 stars. The Hebrew name is Mazanim, the scales, weighing. Its name in Arabic is Al-Zubina, purchase or redemption. In Coptic, it's Labdania, station of propitiation. Graciousness, branch. The name by which it has come down to us is the Latin Libra, which means weighing, as used in the Vulgate. Libra contains 3 bright stars whose names supply us with a whole matter. The brightness in the lower scale is named Zuben al-Gunibi, which means the purchase or price, which is deficient. This points to the fact that man has been utterly ruined. He is weighed in the balance and found wanting. Or, since we're noticing it's balanced with a voice that comes from the 4 living creatures, is that the price that could not be paid, being paid at the same time as this tribulation, because we have the 2 witnesses here paying the price. So the price has been paid, so the scales are now equally balanced, maybe. Whatever price death required or whatever, that it's been paid, and so he has redeemed his bride at this point. So even if the justice system is wrong, somehow we're still provided for. Following that the price is paid here, it seems that over here all the forces of evil have received their payment, that they are silenced. There's no accusation they can ever make against all of humanity. Lupus, pictured as a dog that is slain, is death. Greek name is Thera, a beast. A wolf, its Latin name Bestia or Victima. Hebrew name Aseda, which both mean to be slain. Zodiac of Dendera, he's pictured as a little child with its finger on its lips. So they try to change the appearance of it, and he is called a lamb. In other pictures, he has, besides the horn of a goat on one side of his head. All this pointed to one and the same great fact, the development and explanation of what was meant by the bruising of his heel. Perhaps the beast that was slain is considered to be the seed of the devil. In the fourth horseman, we can assume that Marduk, the prince of Babylon, the Antichrist, the one who was slain yet is, rides forth under the name of death. Mimickers can only follow, so he follows as Christ jingles his keys. He only has a short time. So you can see the one maybe who is slain by the sword, since we know that the second horseman is given a sword. And then we also see all of Gehenna that follows death, the angel of death. The star picture brings forth before us a gigantic scorpion endeavoring to sting in the heel a mighty man who is struggling with a serpent, but is crushed by the man who has his foot placed right on the scorpion's heart. The Hebrew name is Achrab, which is the name of a scorpion, but also means the conflict or war. So when they open the abyss in the fifth seal, Gehenna, maybe if it's that's the abyss, or the place where is prepared for the devil and his angels could be Tartarus, and then they get cast into Gehenna. So what comes out is scorpions, but it also means the conflict or war. It is this that is referred to in Psalms 91. So with the fifth trumpet, they only have certain authority, like they can't harm anyone who has the seal, I believe. So they're doing the will of God. And in the previous video, when I'm saying like only God's will is done, it's because he knows our own heart, our own wickedness, that he does what is good for us in allowing us to carry out our evil intent. So we see for ourselves, like in the end, we all will be praising him for how wise he is. So we are the ones that actually bring out the evil, but he is the one who gives us the free will, and so he is good. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder. The young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under thy feet. Coptic name means the attack of the enemy or oppression, but it's all under your feet. You will also tread on scorpions. No forces of evil can harm you, so long as you are following in Messiah's footprints. The Arabic name is Al-Akhrab, which means wounding him that cometh. 44 stars, the brightest star in the heart, bears the ancient Arabic name of Antares, which means the wounding. It is called by the Latins cor scorpi because it marks the scorpion's heart. It shines ominously with a deep red light. The sting is called in Hebrew lesath, which means the perverse. The stars in the tail are also known as lesha or leshat. So you see the serpent is being restrained from reaching the crown, though he longingly wishes to have it and wants us to think he has it. He's being restrained here, and the one who's doing the restraining can be crushing the enemy's head here, and then he also could have been the one bruising this heel over here with his sting. If you could call any of the four horsemen the Antichrist, wouldn't you call Lupus the one who's wounded by the sword? This one should have a sword here, and yet is resurrected when the abyss is opened. Then you should not call the one who's defeating the Antichrist also the Antichrist. Right next to Scorpio is the altar, the fifth seal. It is a man enthroned with a flail in his hand. His name is Bow, the same name as Hercules has, and means he cometh. It is from the Hebrew bow, to come. Isaiah 63, who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? This is the coming in judgment, as is clear from the reason given. So, his garments are dipped in blood, and so I guess it could be to avenge, since it's already dipped in blood, or is it dipped in blood because he's treading the winepress? For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. For mine own harm brought salvation, and my fury upheld me. In this time where the love of many grows cold, it can be amazing, like if you have need and you ask people for help, and there's nobody to save, there's nobody to help. And so God's own right hand needs to bring salvation. There's no help for people. In Arabic, it is called al-Mugara because God's system is set up to where we're supposed to be helping. We're supposed to be his hands and his feet. But in this time, it's like only Messiah can save, which means the completing or finishing. The Greeks use the word ara sometimes in the sense of praying, but more frequently in the sense of imprecation or cursing. The ones under the altar are told to wait until the completing or finishing has come. So the souls under the altar are praying and asking, how long till you avenge us? And he's like, a little while longer. So after the 10 high holy days, as I understand it, then the price has fully been paid, death is defeated, and then it's the unleashing, or the getting ready to unleash after Sukkot probably, of the bowls of the wrath. So that's the first 5 seals. Now let's look at the virgin and the harlot. The name of this sign in the Hebrew is Bethula, which means a virgin, and in the Arabic, a branch. The two words are connected, as in Latin Virgo, which means a virgin, and Virga, which means a branch. Another name is Sunbal, Arabic, an ear of corn. Thus the brightest star in Virgo has an ancient name handed down to us in all the star maps in which the Hebrew word tsemech is preserved. It is called in Arabic al-Zamak, which means the branch. This star is in the ear of corn which she holds in her left hand. Hence the star has a modern Latin name which has almost superseded the ancient one, Spica, which means an ear of corn. But this hides the great truth revealed by its name al-Zamak. It foretold the coming of him who should bear this name. The same divine inspiration has, in the written word, 4 times connected it with him. There are 20 Hebrew words translated branch, but only one of them, tsemech, is used exclusively of the Messiah, and this word only 4 times. Each of these further connects him with one special account of him given in the Gospels. The star B, which is called Zavija, which means the gloriously beautiful, as in Isaiah 4:2. The star E in the arm bearing the branch is called Al-Meridin, which means he who shall come down, or who shall have dominion. It is also known as Vindemetrix, a Chaldee word which means the son or branch who cometh. Other names of stars in the sign are Subila, who carries, Al-Azal, the branch, Zubilan, a spike of corn. Isis has herself claimed to be the virgin. Between the virgin and the centaur is the harlot Hydra. So here is the image that it was referring to with A, B, and C, and I'll try to leave the link for that. And here is where our battle is, down here on the mid-south part of the map. So when we go up here to Virgo, and then you can see Hydra pictured as a giant serpent creature here, and we zoom in, Spica depicted as an ear of corn here, but it should be this branch that is promised, and she's the one with child. Female serpent Hydra. It says here the mother and author of all evil. I think that's a misconception. I think it just says the mother of harlots. I don't know if it says all harlots, but I guess you could assume that. Hydra has this significant meaning. He is abhorred. 60 stars. The brightest star in the heart of the serpent is sometimes called by the moderns Cor Hydrae on that account. Its ancient name Al-Fard, which means the separated, put away, like the wife that is divorced. Another is Aldrian, the abhorred. Another star is named Minkar al-Suga, the piercing of the deceiver. It's possible that this is symbolic of Inanna, Zeus's granddaughter, and Poseidon's daughter-in-law through marriage. The name we know her by may be Isis, so I was doing a lot of Greek mythology then. In her hand is Crater, the cup. This cup has the significant number of 13 stars. The number of apostasy, the 2, Al-Hes, which means the cup, and determine the bottom of the cup. So in Babylon's hand is the wine of the cup of her abominations. She also has Crovis, the raven, Oreb the raven. Herna is its name in the Dendara zodiac. Her means the enemy, and Na means breaking up or failing. That is to say, this scene represents the breaking up of the enemy. There are 9 stars, the number of judgment. In this constellation, the bright star A in the eye is called Al-Khabar, joining together from the Hebrew Chiba, which means accursed. This star then tells of the curse inflicted. The star B in the right wing is called Al-Gorab, from Hebrew Oreb, the raven. The third star is named Minkar al-Gorab and means the raven tearing to pieces. So it looks like the heavenly Jerusalem, after she is cast to the earth, the dogs feast on her flesh. So it could be a dog like Jezebel that is torn apart. So Jezebel is defeated by her own court. They throw her out the window. And I think that's similar to the heavenly battle where the 10 horns defeat the harlot. So they cast her out of heaven down to earth. The bird maybe could be the feast where he calls the birds to feast on her flesh. And she's also surrounded by dogs that can eat her flesh like Jezebel. Best story ever written before it even happens. But that's all for this time. Thanks for watching, and Hashem bless you.